Welcome to The Explainer. There's a reason the whole friends to lovers trope is an absolute massive hit in storytelling. It really hits on this deep, fundamental desire we all have, the idea of being truly known by someone before being loved by them. So today, we're going to deconstruct this incredibly powerful, totally universal narrative archetype. We've got this beautifully simple classic short story summary about two characters, Emma and Ethan, and we're going to use it to break down the exact emotional beats that make this trope work like a charm.
I mean, think about it. Is it actually worth risking a lifelong friendship for the chance at true love? I really want you to let those high emotional stakes sink in for a second, because this right here, this is the central dilemma driving the entire narrative we're analyzing today. It's the core engine of the whole story. You literally have absolutely everything to gain, but man, you also have everything to lose.
Okay, Act 1, the lifelong friendship foundation. Let's get into it.
So before any romantic tension can even survive, a story's got to have deep roots, right? And our source text sets up Emma and Ethan's bond chronologically. It shows us that they didn't just casually exist next to each other. No, they actively shared every single high and low together. And that shared history builds this unshakable baseline of mutual trust. It's only after that really deep foundation is set in stone that we hit the critical third point on their timeline, Emma's sudden realization that her feelings have totally shifted from friendship into love.
Moving right along, Act 1. The fear of confession.
Emma faces this intense, crazy psychological barrier the absolute second she realizes her true feelings. She's caught in this completely paralyzing contrast. On one hand, you've got her growing desire for romantic love, but that is directly opposed by the absolute terror of losing her best friend. The text literally tells us explicitly that she kept her feelings totally hidden purely because of this fear. And honestly, this push and pull tension is exactly what hooks us as readers. She's just trapped right there in the middle, wanting to move forward, but desperately needing to protect that safe haven of the past.
All right, on to Act 2, a mutual realization. Emma finally confessed her love. It's just 6 words, but seriously, think about the immense dramatic weight packed into that moment. She takes the ultimate risk. By actually speaking her truth out loud, she deliberately shatters that safe, predictable status quo of their childhood bond. And once she says those words, well, the toothpaste is out of the tube. There is no going back to just being buddies who split fries on a Friday night. The narrative tension is at its absolute peak right here.
But here is the crucial twist. Ethan harbored the exact same feelings, but the text notes that he never actually had the courage to tell her. And this just perfectly highlights a mutual, totally hidden longing that suddenly aligns right out in the open. I mean, the irony is just beautiful, isn't it? They were both trapped by the exact same fear of losing each other. Their emotional timelines were completely synchronized long before their romantic timeline ever was. Which brings us to the Act 2 twist, the threatening secret. So just as the narrative reaches this point of apparent perfection, their feelings are finally out in the open, boom, a massive roadblock drops. What happens when a difficult secret threatens everything? The text introduces this really sudden complication that just injects intense suspense right when we probably thought the story was wrapping up. It kind of forces us to ask, wait, is a newly united couple actually strong enough to withstand an external threat literally right after coming together?
And that leads into Act 3. Overcoming with loyalty.
The text very clearly outlines exactly how Emma and Ethan defeat this obstacle. And it's so interesting, they don't use these grand, new romantic gestures to save the day. Actually, scratch that. It's more like they just rely on deep trust and lean on loyalty. And these aren't just random narrative traits thrown in at the last minute, right? These are the very elements they spent years cultivating back in their childhood friendship. They are literally leveraging their platonic foundation to overcome every obstacle. It makes their romantic success completely and entirely dependent on the strength of their shared past.
The story concludes by just beautifully reframing their entire history. It wasn't just a friendship that eventually kind of morphed into love. No, as the text says, true love had been beside them all along. It frames their past not merely as some prelude to the romance, but as a profound love story that was just waiting to be fully discovered and acknowledged by the both of them.
This whole narrative structure just resonates so deeply because it speaks directly to our universal desire for safety, trust, and a truly profound connection. Which kind of leaves us with a final thought to ponder. How often do we search endlessly for something extraordinary out in the world, completely overlooking the profound love standing right in front of us the entire time? Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me today.